Hello, everyone. Welcome to another special episode of Just the Tips. And this is round two of the Mandalore Fireside Chats. And there were at least two of you guys in the server that gave us positive feedback on the first one. So we decided that was more than enough to do it a second time. So just
It's
want to
100% more than last time we did this for positive feedback.
That's a very good point. Yes, it was. So I'm just going to go real quickly through the cast of characters that we have here. Joining us for their encores are Darth Primus and Mediolator and Thol. And our new special addition tonight is Chameleon. He is another officer in Mandalore, and he runs our territory battles, and he is always in Discord. So, Chameleon, thanks for joining us. And got anything special that you want to say to all the morons listening tonight?
Hello there, and thank you for having me on this. I look forward to our lovely chat tonight. And Primus is trash.
There it is. Perfect. We're getting
You
started
have
early.
such a great voice for this.
I mean, I did a lot of phone support for a very long time, so kind of comes
Oh,
natural.
there you go. Perfect. That
And
explains
sex
it all.
lines too. I mean, you know.
There it is. What we were all thinking.
I mean,
Or at
I
least
said it
I
because I
was
knew you were
thinking.
thinking it.
Good job, man. Oh, man. All right, cool. All right, so in case it wasn't clear already, we should slap a parental advisory warning on this podcast. Most of us are very familiar with each other and have called each other all sorts of wonderful/terrible names in chat, so we are probably going to continue that streak here on the podcast. So apologies in advance, but not really.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep, never.
Sure.
I've never been mean
Sure,
to any
sure.
of you in my life.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I must have dreamed it all. It's just been like a 3-year long fever dream. All right, boys. Let's go ahead and chat away. We got a lot of new content, and we've got some stuff that we didn't really cover very well in the first podcast. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First of all, hot off the presses, we just got a post from CG not even 3 hours ago, and they dropped Jabba's kit on us. So we now know kind of what he is supposed to do if we read the novel that is his kit. So anybody have any initial thoughts on Jabba? Are you excited? Are you dreading him? Do you not give a fuck? Like, where are you on Jabba right now? Primus.
Oh, we'll let Primus go.
I'll let Champ speak. He's the one who posted it first in the Mandalore side of the server. So,
All right, cool. I didn't really care what you were going to say anyways. I was just saying somebody random. All right,
Fair
point.
I'm not overly thrilled with his kit. For territory battle side, yes, awesome, great. It'll be for the neutral TB that is supposedly coming out in question mark months. For PvP, I don't think he'll be a defensive GL at all. Just as a cursory read of his kit, I mean, it's like 1,100 words, and I don't have the patience for that right now. I don't think it's going to be amazing on defense, but offense, I think it'll be pretty solid. I would say probably like C level, where he's amazing on offense and meh on defense.
All right, cool. Anybody else want to jump in there? Any hot takes?
I was just trying to see, because he speaks up everybody with his leader ability.
Yeah.
Is it going to be? Because again, I haven't read it closely enough, but it'd be interesting because it's not listed as like one of the recommended synergy characters. But if you put Zam with him in GAC, that might be interesting because of the thermal detonators and all that other crap. So, especially if her Omicron works with him, I don't see why it would.
Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't either. I haven't, like I said, I've barely read his kit though, so
Yeah,
I don't remember her Omicron having any. This doesn't work with GL clauses in it, but I'm gonna
right.
read it right now
gains
and just take a
5%
look.
speed for each bounty hunter ally.
Yeah, it says nothing about GLs, so
And he's a bounty
Unless,
hunter, so she would get
yeah,
the bonus. He would count
should
towards
work.
it too.
Yeah,
yeah, that's going to thing guaranteed right off the bat is putting Zam with Jabba.
yeah, because it's not super clear who his fifth is actually going to be, right? Like we know he's going to
Oh
have
no,
Christian,
we
Boosh,
know it's
and
going to be Mob Enforcer. Duh.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Well, if there are any mobs out there that need to be enforced, we'll be able to do that. But um, yeah, I think the fifth is really the only part of his team that's even like remotely in question, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's a good spot for Zam. You heard
Yeah.
it here first.
I will agree with him. I think for GAC, yes. When it comes to like TW, I have no clue.
Yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, like these kits
He
are
also
impossible to
makes
dissect.
people immune to fear.
Yeah.
So
All
I mean,
GLs are immune to fear.
no, but he makes the whole team immune to fear.
Does he?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
And
But
days.
if he makes the whole team immune to daze and fear, then there's your Malgus counter.
No,
mean,
because he puts so
um,
many debuffs, like at least in GAC. But I don't know.
But he
Sorry,
also
go ahead.
dispels all debuffs on all allies, and they're immune to daze and fear with the same special.
So, I mean, I think it's impossible to definitively be like, yeah, this is where he's going to be in the meta right now because it really is like, especially in GAC and TW, it's really an ecosystem of like what matches against what, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
what is killing Malgus right now? C is killing Malgus in fives. Um,
SLKR.
SLKR can kill him in
SLKR, yeah.
fives. So, like, but
Yep.
then you have to consider, what other counters do I need those two GLs for, and then what other counters can Jabba do? So it's like I don't know. It's hard to nail down and be like, yeah, this is my Malgus counter now, or
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be my JMK counter or whatever. Especially with Datacrons, like everything's going to change.
Yep.
You're going to want him. Like everybody's going to want Jabba. He's going to be important for all the PvE content, and he's going to have a place in the PvP meta. It's just a question of like where, and I don't think anybody
Well,
can tell you today where that's going to be.
and there's going to be they've been alternating light side and dark side sets, sort of, right, for the Datacron. So there's going to be a more light side predominant set's probably coming next, since this one seems like it's a little more geared toward Empire. And then after that, you'll probably get a bounty hunter set right around the time when he's out.
I was thinking maybe we'd be getting a first order one soon because that's one of the
Yeah.
factions we haven't gotten.
Yeah.
True. Or
Yeah.
maybe they just buy it and do either first order or bounty hunter on the same ones. No, because they wouldn't do a dark and too dark, so they'd probably do it with
But
a
it's
different light
CG.
side.
Anything's
is.
No,
possible.
they did
Yeah, that's
Rebels
true.
and they did Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this last time they did like the C, Kron, and Malgus.
Yeah.
Those are the
Yeah.
two big dark side in set 3, and then set 4 is dark side heavy too. So who knows?
Yeah.
What do you think, Primus? Any thoughts about Jabba's kit?
I honestly looks fun. Like I think I already put my thoughts out there in the server a little earlier, but he's no JMK, he's no Lord Vader, but I think he'll at least lift some different bounty hunter units that we don't normally use, like I guess like a little bit of a relevant level, which is going to be a little cool to at least have some units that we don't normally use in the meta, nor they just sit there on our roster. I think it'll be a little bit of a nice unit to have to lift everything else we have. I think Lord Vader would be probably the best comparison, where they kind of lifted Royal Sausage out of irrelevance, which is nice, and bringing Darth Vader back into full circle, into some type of usefulness. And now with the new Datacron set, I mean, Tarkin just freaking runs circles around any kind of GL as long as there's no Terminator prevention mechanic. So I think Jabba's kind of just going to be in that spot where he's not. I think Cam said it. He's like C level, maybe a little better in my opinion, but he's going to bring some units that we don't normally use into relevance, and I think it's kind of cool. And CG can't be breaking. They can't be breaking the artificial ceiling that they've created with Jam for like GL power levels every single cycle, and I think that's. I'm glad that they didn't do that with Java. So, kind of my 2 cents there.
All right, Mead, what do you think? Java,
Yeah,
yay or nay?
Yay. The alt looks sweet. I love that. I love the right just coming out needing somebody. The kit itself is definitely. It'll be interesting where they go with support GLs from here, but it seems like something I'll like slot in fairly soon to my roster.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna work on them. It will be my next project. Once I just finished Inquisitor, so it's my next natural progression. It's just, do I need to rush for it? I mean, maybe because of the TB, but we don't know when that's coming out yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush for that new TB.
Yeah, I assume the new TB will probably be towards the end of CG's fiscal year, just because they want to make some extra cash. But I don't know. I just think, from a PvE perspective, he'll be needed. Just when is the question.
All right, so that's. I mean, we were going to talk about the new TB next, so why don't we just go ahead and jump into it? I have a couple of predictions about the TB. They're not like earth-shattering predictions, but I'll throw them out there. Yeah, I think Chameleon's right that we're going to get it near the end of their next fiscal quarter, so sometime around Christmas. It'll be either before Christmas or it'll be January, is my guess, because they don't usually work anywhere near Christmas. So I think if I had to put money down, I'd say January.
Yeah,
So
I would agree.
For those of you who are like thinking about, I got to get Jabba because new TB, he's going to be required. I mean, you're going to have 3 months. Even the free-to-play players, like, I'm pretty sure that Bouche Leia is going to be farmable for at least a month before you actually need Jabba. So, I mean, you can do triple refreshes and get her, up there pretty quickly. So, I don't think there's going to be a rush on it, but I do think there's probably going to be some sort of new raid content. I mean, all the kit is pointing heavily towards a new raid, right? Like, we don't need any new characters or any new kits for our current raid content, right? Challenge Pit is super easy if you have even, a handful of big accounts in your guild. You can kill it with like 5 or 6 accounts only.
I mean, I guess though, I mean, for the guilds that aren't full of big accounts and they want to be able to beat CPIT faster, I think it could, that could be a solve for it. But I mean, you need the R8 materials to get Jabba, so kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look, like Dagobah did CPIT at what, 190 million? And I'm sure that number would be even lower now by a guild that's, just as competitive as they were, just because there's even more GLs out now. So it's not like CPIT is even that super end game anymore. So, like I said, all signs point to new raid at some point, a new very challenging raid. And I'm sure that it will gate. It'll be either the raid or it'll be the TB itself. They gate the R10 materials that we all know are coming.
Yeah.
So prepare yourselves.
Maybe it'll be. Sorry, Thol.
Oh, it's fine. I was just going to say, wasn't there just a tune that was just released that was given an Omicron for a raid as well?
Yes, Bouche Leia.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, I couldn't remember who it was. So.
Yep.
But yeah. And there's something in Java's kit too about something about, and it reads about raids specifically.
Yeah, his
Like,
contract is immediately fulfilled on entering the raid.
yeah,
Which is
that's what it was.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
With the TB, from running Lightside TB for the last however long it's been out for, I'm excited and apprehensive about it. I mean, having to learn something brand new is going to be rough to say the least. We've done a lot of theory crafting between myself and the rest of the officers of Mandalore on getting to where we are, and I'm not looking forward to that side, but I am at the same time because we're kind of maxed out on where we can do based on GP with Mandalore at this time. So
Yeah, I just hope they put in as either an alternative for Darkside TB, because that at this point is fairly easy
Auto.
for us.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can auto most phases, and then phase 4 is the only one where everyone has to show up, and even then,
Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be like that we'll be able to choose this new TB for both like do it twice a month, or do you think it's only going to be in place of one of the TBs? It's got to be both, right?
I'm
Well,
thinking it
I
should be
would.
both.
I don't know. I think that they're only going to allow you to do, especially if it's like where you're getting R10 mats from it. So they're going to do something to where it's not like released quickly. And so if you're doing it twice a month, that's going to release this special gear or whatever too quickly for their liking, I'm sure. So I think it's going to be more than once a month if that's where you get that from. Now, if you don't get that gear from there, then maybe it will be more than once a month if it comes from a new raid or something like that. But
Maybe they'll only allow you to choose it in place of one of the 2 TBs per month, like you were saying. And if that's the case, we'll definitely replace Darkside TB without even thinking.
So
right.
that makes sense on a surface level, but then think about this: like, what would prevent a guild from making like a sister guild, right? And then the game keeps track of which guild does what, so you just jump your players back and forth from guild to guild.
Maybe
You
it's
just
like a raid
have
lock on like
exactly, and so then you can do it twice a month. CG is gonna think about that. I I don't think that's how they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna limit us to once a month. I think that they will plan for whatever resources we're supposed to get out of it to actually like be uh, geared
50%.
towards being twice a month. Yeah, exactly.
the other
and I
thing I
know
noticed is during their talk, they were saying how the new TB will let us use our TB Omicrons more often. We'll get more out of them. Which would only make sense as if you could be doing light side or dark side more than once a month.
I
Yep.
mean, I do like the fact that it's going to be, from what I quickly think, it's more of like a neutral TB, and Third Sister will be one of the rewards for a special mission. So that's cool that maybe Inquisitors will get a little bit stronger. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited and again apprehensive for it at the same token.
So that you mentioning Inquisitors brings up a really important point that it was kind of touched on in the podcast that Darth Vader did with Dron and Vitesse, where they talked about Inquisitors possibly being soft required for the TB and whether or not they were going to farm them and et cetera, et cetera. And the consensus seems to be to just wait and see. Um, because right now, the Inquisitors are such a heavy gear investment, and they don't, well, at least across the broad spectrum of the community, they don't seem to provide the amount of return on that investment. Uh, so, what do you guys think? Do you think Inquisitors are going to be soft required or even hard required for this TB to make significant progress? And what are your plans for Inquisitors if you don't already have them farmed?
So I thought they said from the outset that there's going to be a special mission for them. Um, I could have misheard or misread it, but I thought that was pretty much stated. And it would be for Third Sister as the reward. Um,
So kind of like the
I,
cam mission.
yes.
So I think they said there was going to be a special mission for them. They didn't say that Riva was going to be the reward for that special mission. I think they just said Riva would be awarded in the TB.
Okay.
And I think it's a pretty good assumption by the player base that that's what it's going to be, but I don't think we know that for sure.
Yeah. With that being said, I mean, I just finished gearing all of them to Relic 5, so it's just the requirements for Grand Inquisitor, and I had Ninth Sister at Relic 6 for Lord Vader team, but I will do Grand Inquisitor as soon as he comes back. I will gear him up, probably no higher than R5 or R6, just until they do the changes with the mats for R8 and beyond. They're not a bad faction, I don't think. They're easily beaten by quite a bit, but I think their value is more of an offensive team.
Completely agree. What do you think, Mead?
Well, they're an expensive faction. If you have a few different places your roster can go, they're very expensive. I think right now for me, I try to really plan out where my farms are going, but I realize it might be time to start hoarding gear kind of after Profundity and really wait and see what TB looks like. I think that's like where I'm at is I need to kind of like pump the brakes on where my roster is going and see kind of like what teams are going to be needed. Like, is Phoenix going to be needed? Is Inquisitors? Like, I don't have Inquisitors. My plan was to let them get accelerated and then worry about them. But kind of with this announcement, I'm waiting. I'm just going to start holding on to gear and wait to see what's going to be.
It's probably a really good idea. Especially because we don't have any knowledge on what is going to be in the TB. If Phoenix, for instance, is like a required team, I'm probably going to cry. Besides Hera, mine are all like between G8 and G11. But God, I hope they're not required.
Mead,
I mean, they called them out.
Yeah, they did. Fudge. Mead, are you shard farming them, or are you completely waiting and seeing?
I'm completely like I'm just waiting and seeing. I have some other stuff going on. I'll do it if I need to do it in 3 months. I'll do it in 3 months. But yeah.
Okay.
I'd almost.
Where are you on? So we know you already have
Sorry.
like our all R8 Inquisitors. Remember?
I do not.
I do know about Fifth Brother.
I do have an R7 Fifth Brother, yes.
I'm kind of where Meat is, except I'm actually actively farming their shards just because there's nothing else that I need. Moment, so needed for a special mission. Now, Riva not going to be a bunch of different, like a bunch of points for like star completion. Well, we don't know, but get Riva using them now. How relevant will she be? We don't know until that time comes. But I'm kind of in a holding pattern with my gear at the moment. I think I dropped a little bit of gear on the Jabba Rex just because I'm tired of losing because my Fennec is an R7. And it's nice to put Han to R7, at least right now, because I know he's going to be needed at R8. But mainly, I'm just kind of holding, waiting, because they're very expensive to gear. That's a lot of Cairo. And I think everyone can agree they cost a pretty penny. But yeah, I'm kind of holding right now. I don't think they're that great defensively, but they can do some stuff offensively, which is pretty nice. Sorry, I'm outside right now, so if you hear cars, I apologize.
All right, Thol, hit us with your wisdom.
I'd almost, because I like to be the devil's advocate if possible. So I almost would say that I think that Inquisitors might, like, if you didn't have any of these done, Inquisitors might be one that I would put ahead of Jabba. Like, before you farm Jabba, I would do my Inquisitors first, just because they're not just for the TV, but there are so many other things in the game right now that Inquisitors are used for. And I mean, everything that CG is doing there's a lot of things that CG, not everything, but there are a lot of things that is doing that is geared toward getting your Inquisitors up to where they need to be. So
Yeah.
I think that they should be put in. If you had a choice, do I do Inquisitors or do I do Jabba? I would probably get my Inquisitors team ready first, even though they're gear heavy and everything else. I would still go for that first off.
Yeah, I can
And
see that.
they do work in TW. I mean, the two Omicrons on Grand Inquisitor and TW, you can beat GLs with them. So I mean, you can beat JML teams for sure. If you get lucky, you could beat a JMK team with it. They do some good things on offense. I agree, they're not the world's greatest defensive team, but on offense, they're really good.
Yeah, I can agree too. Like, with Conquest, with the 8,000 galactic challenges that came out in a row, and the assault battle, there's three things that really help your roster out that Inquisitors are needed for. So, yeah, I could say I would do Inquisitors over Jabba, and that was my thought, and that's what I did. I'm going to work on Jabba next, but I definitely did Inquisitors before Jabba.
Yep.
The
So
problem.
here's why I am on Inquisitors. And other than Mead, I'm the lowest GP here. The Inquisitors, I am shard farming them. I'm where Primus is right now. I'm thinking about Jabba and I'm thinking about Inquisitors. And I'm not sure that I'm going to even have. I'm not even sure I'm going to have all their shards done in time for this new TB. Because I only just started farming 4 of them on a hard node after the new TB was announced. So usually it takes about 5 months if you don't refresh any nodes, and I don't really plan to. So that's kind of where I am. I think I will probably end up prioritizing Jabba over Inquisitors, and I'll refresh hard nodes that the marquees land on. I'm still waiting on Chrysanthemum to drop onto a node. Where is that? But I have a hard time seeing, like, the Cairo and Relic investment are actually pretty similar, I think, between Jabba and Inquisitors. I have a hard time, like, thinking about my GACs and thinking about TW. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing Inquisitors getting pushed over Jabba in terms of value. But I don't know. We'll see what Jabba looks like out in the wild here, probably in the not too distant future. Then it'll be a little bit more clear.
The other problem with Inquisitors is if you're valuing like the galactic challenges and like conquest, that can all just be taken away in like another month.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
that you got your people who got them early. Yes, you absolutely got value out of them for those things. But to start gearing them now with the hopes of using those to justify the cost, like they could just take that away by the time when you get Grand Inquisitor. And
Yes.
Do you mean for the like assault battles and stuff?
well,
No,
the
he's talking about
galactic
like the
challenge.
galactic challenges. The assault
Oh,
battles will be
yeah.
there
Yeah.
infinitive,
Yeah, the
but
assault battles aren't ever going away.
no.
Right.
But I mean, the difference between like 2 months, that's 2 rounds of an assault battle. That's it's hard to justify.
Well, and I also think in Conquest, you're going to probably lose a lot of, you've got a lot of feats right now that are geared toward Inquisitors as well. Those are probably going to go away. They're probably going to be more geared toward bounty hunters or something like that with Java coming out.
Yeah, there will probably. My guess is that there will usually be like 1 Inquisitor feat in Conquest going forward, but it won't be 3 or 4 like it's been.
Which, I mean, I guess it still is fine because at least it saves you the hassle of having to try to figure out like another feat
Yes.
to like bang out. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a balance. Would I tell everyone to drop everything they're doing and farm Inquisitors? No, absolutely not. That would be last choice. But I could see the value in farming them pre-Jabba. I guess is a better way of saying it, depending on where the rosters are at too, and that's the more important thing. I'm looking at it from someone who's at 9.1 million. I have almost every toy unlocked, whereas someone like yourself, Lab, who isn't at that same lit, grouping, it's different. It's a different suggestion.
Yes. Well, and I'm at that weird point where I have all the GLs until Jabba drops, whenever, but I still don't have all the toys. And Inquisitors are, a big part of what I don't have. And so it's even a lot different calculus for me than it is for someone like Mead who only has 3 GLs. Asking somebody to not farm, say, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and then go for Inquisitors instead, that's a lot different than
Exactly, and
than a lot
that's
of other
why
things.
I guess I should have prefaced everything saying this is coming from someone who's at 9.1 million GP. I have 6 GLs. I have pretty much almost everything besides Grand Inquisitor unlocked right now. So it's a lot different than, like I said, yourself or Mead, who does not have those toys.
Hey guys, let's go on to another topic. Why don't you guys talk about the new mod system, and I'll be back in a minute.
Sure. Thol, you want to start with it, or do you want me to?
Sure. I kind of like it. I guess we can all talk about like what we like and what we don't like about it.
Yeah.
So obviously for me, I've got a lot of these like 6A mods that are sitting there that are really sad because they have like 4 speed hits. So all of the money that I invested into those, or resources that I invested into those per se, I can try to take those and reallocate the secondary stats, and so that maybe I can get a 5th hit on speed on some of those. So I do like that fact a lot, that I can take those. And since we've gotten these, I've probably rolled at least 5 or 6 more 25 plus speed mods from the ones that were just sitting at like 22 that couldn't go any higher, or 23 or something like that. So that's really nice. The one thing that I have found is that if you don't get it the first time, it gets infinitely more expensive to calibrate them further. So like the first roll is 15, the second roll is 25, the third roll is 40, and they're like, yeah, you can re-roll this up to 6 times. It must be like 100 to re-roll it the 6th time or more. And those things aren't super easy to come by. But I do like that they also have made it to where there's a particular mat. I can't remember the names of all of them, but there's a particular mat that you need to go from 6B to 6A that I always don't seem to have enough of, and you can actually farm those now. So that's nice. And we were talking about this the other day. I do think that it seems like the drop rates for the attenuators are a little bit higher on the nodes that are a little bit more costly. So the 18 energy nodes seem to drop them at a little higher rate than like the 14 or the 12 or the 14 ones, which were the other 6A mod nodes that we had before. Because you can get them there as well, but they don't seem to come as often on those nodes. So I like that. I like the fact that I can take some mods that I thought were not great and make them better. And then the only thing I don't like about it is just change, just because I have to get used to a whole new system of doing things. But I think overall it's going to be good once I get used to it. It's just getting used to it. The fact that you can sell a mod now directly from upgrading it and everything else without having to like go back in and hit the sell button and go through all of them is way better as well. It was a good upgrade for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I've gotten at least 4 or 5 more plus 25 speeds as well. It does suck when you try to roll off something like flat offense and you get more flat offense. That does suck. It's happened to me a couple times. I do have the chart
Uh-huh.
up. It goes from 15 all the way up to 150 attenuator cost. So it goes 10x.
Holy
Um,
cow! Wow.
so I could see if you maybe doing the second one is kind of pushing it. Outside of that, I would
Hmm.
not spend 40, 75, 100, or 150. No, that's
No,
insane.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's great. I think it's a great addition. Again, it does suck a little bit on some of the things. The mod battles changes is phenomenal. The fact that I don't have to wait for a GC to finish to start maybe getting some extra rolls, great, love it. I've done more refreshes this week than I think I ever have in the mod area. So overall, great change. I don't hate it. I just don't like when you get flat offense to flat offense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that I wish that they wouldn't have allowed was for you to get the same thing that you clicked on. Okay, if there's a chance that I get, one of the other three things and just not the same one that I clicked on, that's fine. But to give me the same one that I just clicked on, I mean, that's a kick in the balls.
So the counterpoint to that, like the thing I was concerned about when this came out was like I assume you guys are all in the same boat. You've spent a lot of time making sure that your mods are really, really good. And I just I wanted that to remain a competitive advantage, and I didn't want this new thing to come out and let everyone just have plus 25 speed mods. Like I don't want to I want my mod like all the time I put in it to still matter, and I feel like by keeping it like a 1 in 4 rule to have them keep getting a lot more expensive, you're pretty much like getting a 1 in 4 chance of improving a mod because you're really only going to do it once, maybe twice. So everyone mods are going to get like a little bit better without like walking into a place where everyone has plus 20, like at least plus 20 speed mods on all their characters a lot easier. So I kind of like that it didn't make it too easy. And I think like the keeping it a 1 in 4 rule kind of kept those numbers down.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, once you get to higher end of K1, it kind of
Sure.
everyone has like 100 plus 25 speed mods, and it hurts a lot. Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
but yeah, I think I can see both sides. Again, I don't hate it. I just hate going from flat offense to flat offense or flat defense to flat defense. That sucks. But for every one win, if I get a loss here and there, it's not the end of the world.
Has Primus talked about mods yet?
No.
No, he's still muted, probably because he's outside playing in traffic.
We can only
Oh,
hope.
there he is.
It's my goal to get hit, man. Come on. I need to get that lawsuit money. No, it's honestly I like the system and like I can see where Mead's coming from. Like, you worked hard on your mods and maybe there's some people that made poorer choices than you and didn't maximize your potential roles, and they obviously will show and the disparity between how many plus 25 plus 20s you have versus your opponent. But like Phil, like there's a lot of those mods in my inventory where I'm like, oh man, if this just hit speed one more time, I would have a plus 28. Or I know I have one right now that's a plus 24, but it's like the perfect offense mod. But it it hurt me because I couldn't do anything with it. So that's on my goal tonight because I have some weird superstition where I don't roll my 6 dot mods until Tuesdays. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Or after eating Captain Crunch cereal. I think somebody called it out one time years ago when I first joined Mandalore, saying that was the reason why I was rolling good mods. So I'm gonna stick with that reasoning going forward. Anyway, I think it's I think it's a good mechanic, and it kind of breathes some life into mods instead of having to start from scratch. For if you're slicing up tons of mods, especially if you're going from grays and greens, rolling those all the way back up to gray, and I'm sorry, rolling those up to gold 5 dot mods and up. It's expensive, as I'm sure everybody in this room can attest to. How much investment goes into slicing these mods and how time consuming it can be. So I do really like how it just breathes a little bit of life into your existing mod inventory, and those mods that were previously pretty high gambles and they fell short, you have a second shot at them. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that's a cool perk that we get to use and move forward with what we got.
So I agree with you guys. I think it's a positive change. I think most of the community likes it. I've seen a couple of negative comments. I think it's primarily from the people who haven't gotten any extra speed rolls yet. They're just like rolling the same stat that they tried to roll off. But over time, I think those people's minds will change as their mods get a little bit better. But what I'll say about the entirety of the change, not just the calibration, but the actual huge change for the game was twofold. It was a they took away all the 3 and 4 dot mod crap from farming new mods, which basically is going to accelerate people's collections at least by 100%. And they also combined a lot of the slicing material on the same nodes, right?
Yes.
Like you guys talked about. So those two pieces that you need to push to 6E from 5A, those are both on the same node. And there's like, you can get 3 of them each on one sim if you're lucky. So that is also going to accelerate people's mod collections a lot. And why would CG do that? It's because the number one problem that CG has had with this game is that it takes freaking forever to make meaningful progress. And so the new players, like, if think about how incredibly far behind you would feel if you started a new account today. Like, I'm pretty sure none of us would even want to do that or even consider doing that because, and mods are a big reason why, right? Like, you can wail out on the characters, or you can be like, oh, I'm only going to concentrate on a couple factions that I like and, you know, make a little niche account or whatever. And you could do that, but your mod collection, like all of that time and effort that you put into curating it, that's a lot of it, time and energy investment. And so what CG is doing, this is a catch-up mechanic for newer and mid-game players to make your mod collections grow faster so that they can, I guess, so they feel good about wailing out on characters, right? Because there's a bunch of new characters in the game that keep coming out. Like, players keep falling further and further behind. So, and of course, datacrons exacerbate that, right? Like, you need to pour your resources into gear and relics so that you can use these datacrons, or else you're going to get wiped off the mat in any game mode that you play. So, this is a giant catch-up mechanic, and I think it's really smart of CG to do it this way, because it allows the people with good mod collections to continue to maintain some of their advantage, because, you know, all the slicing rules that applied previously still apply to the calibration. Like, you still, players with good rule sets that don't deviate and don't mod chase are still going to come out ahead over time. It's all stats. So they didn't change any of that, and they made players largely feel good about the change, and they're allowing people to catch up. So overall, really, really positive change, in my opinion.
It's also to get everybody ready for the 7E mods that are coming.
Yeah, probably. Although I think R10 is coming before that.
Probably, yeah, you're probably right, but I bet that there is a 7E mod that's going to be coming at some point. And I mean, this is usually what CG does right before something like this or before something happens, is they make it easier to max things out right before they add another level to it.
Did they do that with R7 though? I don't remember.
No, not. I don't know if they did it with R7. I remember they did it with Gear 12, going from Gear 12 to Relics. They did that. Like, before they brought Relics to the game, they made it easier to get Gear 12.
I don't think there's like a hidden agenda behind this to, you know, maximize or raise the ceiling for us. I think, like Lab said, it's more so just a catch-up mechanic, because datacrons, I think, kind of close the gap for some players with shitty mods and when PvP. And I think even though that's helping close the gap, mods are still one of the most important aspects of the game, and like, it's such a super slow progression for everybody at every level. Like, especially if you get to the higher end, like, you get a plus 15. Cool. Like, what's this going to do for the top 80 of my roster? It's kind of just thrown onto a pilot at that point. You just get to that point where your roster doesn't even need plus 15s anymore. You need plus 20s, and the only way to do that is with the expensive slicing materials of 6A and or six dot slicing materials and the new, I don't even know what they're called. They look like
Micro
penises.
attenuators.
Yeah, they look like whatever. We'll call them micro penises, and
Micro
you use those to slice up your slice up your mods again for those additional rolls. So I don't think there's a hidden agenda. I think like I'm in agreement with Lab. It's more so just to give breathe more life into your roster and give a catch up mechanic to others that need those plus 20 and plus 25 mods.
All right, boys.
When the 70 mods come, you can call me Ulstradamus. It'll be all right.
We will. We
You
will.
wish. You wish. I'm not going to call you
We'll
that.
call you some other things too,
Yes. Yes, we will.
like asshole.
Macro penises are going to be needed to get to 70 mods.
Yeah.
Can't wait. All right, let's shift the conversation a little bit.
On that note,
Yeah, let's. All right, we've jumped the shark on the mod conversation. Let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, datacrons.
Yeah.
So this isn't going to be a bitch fest like the last time. Let's just talk specifically about set 4. Give me what you like the most about set 4 and what you don't like the most about set 4. And Mead, why don't you start?
What I don't like is I don't have Lord Vader. I don't have SLKR. Lord Vader Datacron is like going to completely destroy me competitively. What I like in TW, like being able to like split my empire. It's making Vader fun again. I like it brought Vader back to where he should have been a year ago. Endless merciless massacre is what I'm enjoying the most about the set.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Chameleon.
Well, we all know how much I love Lord Vader. He is actually been my favorite GL since he dropped, and there's no sarcasm, unlike most things I say. I have defended him to the death in every channel that I can, from that person who shall not be named, his horrible takes on it, to everything else. I think that the LV ones are so much fun. I have a blast playing it in Arena. It's so great that like getting the endless Darth Vader, and this today I calling bladed a full health Lord Vader for like 600,000. It was great. What I don't like is that people with really bad rosters who have LV are annoying me now in a squad arena. So I can't test stuff out now because all of a sudden some guy who just unlocked Lord Vader is now sitting at 4 and trying to snipe me every day. That sucks. I can't test with my friends, but I'm having fun when he does attack me, and then I just get to blow his team up in 30 seconds because they have his roster has a 1.0 mod score. The Darth Vader one with is phenomenal. I love it, and the Dash one is really good. I've seen the video the testing you've done, Lab, some testing that my buddy did. He did a Ray team with Dash with that one, and it nearly killed my Lord Vader team when it was on defense. It was disgusting. I did Merciless Massacre forgetting about it, and my guy was dead. Darth Vader was dead immediately. So
yeah, that's a bad button to push against Dash bonus turn, isn't it?
yeah. So that hurt a lot. He wiped Dash actually killed everyone but Lord Vader. Thankfully, Lord Vader is a beast and had enough mastery built up. But yeah, it's fun. Honestly, this has been my favorite set so far. The JMK one was boring. I can stun people and hit under protection. The Ray one was kind of cool. Like, okay, my ult does like 300% more damage. But this one is just fun. I mean, the looping turns, having Darth Vader relevant again, like Mead said, it's amazing.
What do you think, Thol? Anything to add on this Datacron set?
I like something that one of our guildmates posted earlier today. Apparently, Darth Vader with the right Datacron can solo SK in 3v3, which is crazy. So of course I got his Datacron and modified it after we locked in 3v3, not before. So there is that.
This is tradition.
The thing I don't like about these Datacrons is that they're purple. I mean, really, purple? Come on. I mean, make them red. I mean, they're Empire and they're, I don't know, whatever. But purple, okay, whatever. But yeah, I agree. They're fun. I'm really interested to know. I'm sure there's somebody out there in Call or Maw or whatever that has the Scando Datacron. I'm interested to know like what that would do on a Jabba team. I was kind of trying to make, because this Datacron set we're going to have till Christmas, and so I was maybe trying to kind of prepare. So maybe that if I get Jabba, because I'm not going overboard farming for Jabba, maybe if I get him, then maybe that Datacron with Scando and Jabba in the team would be interesting to use. So I do like the fact that there are some aspects of it that can be used later on down the road too, when we unlock some other characters and GLs and things. So
I'm gonna throw it over to Premise in just a second, but I can't believe we've made it through 3 people's opinions on this set. We haven't talked about dodge and deflection one time. Primus, can you help bring
I haven't noticed
a dose
it.
of reality, please?
Yeah, I haven't noticed it because Lord Vader.
I haven't noticed it either. Yeah.
So
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been that big of an issue.
So, okay, let me talk about dodge and deflection real briefly, because I honestly haven't noticed it either. I thought that up in the upper, like the 3,900, 4,000 range of GAC, that it would be prevalent, but maybe it's really only the very top. But I know for a fact that there are people out there, and they're all at the top of GAC or in TW, I'm sure, but they are re-rolling their Lord Vader crons for either close to 100% deflection chance to completely block Fennec, or they're doing 50-50. They're doing like 50 dodge and 50 deflection, so that they can, be a more well-rounded team on defense. But I know that they're out there, and I know that some GAC matches have already been won and lost on dodge chance. And I'm really happy to hear that it hasn't affected any of you. I guess I probably would have heard about it in Discord channel by now if it had happened to somebody.
You would have heard me.
Well, I was going to say it happened to me not with dodge, but it happened to me with armor against the Malgus team. I went up against a guy from Caw with 300% armor on his Malgus Datacron. And I literally could not make a dent in BSF. Like, I hit her like 4 or 5 times with gas, and it didn't do a thing. She just stood there and laughed at me. Freaking bitch.
Almost like ignoring protection or defense would have been great right about now.
Yeah.
Right?
I heard that there were some characters that did that once upon a time.
Yeah, but those Datacrons were so meh and boring.
All right.
All
right. So, good. I'm glad nobody's had a super bad experience with dodge and deflection yet. I think probably it's coming at some point in the next 3 months.
Yes.
Just the number of times. Either it'll be in Territory War or GAC or maybe both, but it'll happen to at least one of us and probably most of us at some point. So
the problem is to re-roll just the stats. It is so ridiculously expensive because a lot of times I'm re-rolling the level 3 and the level 6 to get the ones that match and make sense.
Yes.
But it's just so expensive to even. I thought I hadn't re-rolled any stats yet on any of my Datacrons, and so I looked at it today just to look and see, hey, can I get more armor penetration on this dash one or something like that? And it costs the same as it does to freaking re-roll the level 3 ability. I mean, it's
Yep.
just for one stat. I don't know. It's a little ludicrous, to be honest.
Well, and the stats, the ones at level 7 and 8, the ones that like are big and really matter,
Yeah, yeah,
those are the tier 3 reroll mats that you can only get in Territory War
Yep.
right.
or,
Or
from
buy
crystals.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so like those are the ones that you really want to reroll that give you the most bang for your buck, but I
Mm,
mean, until you have all of the level 9 abilities that you want or can use, then it's cost prohibitive. So, it's probably a
yeah,
good thing because then
yeah,
everybody would have all the annoying stats, right? So, like, at least
yeah,
it's only the people at the very top who are spending ludicrous amounts of money, and maybe like 5 other people spread out through the entire game who are insanely lucky.
yeah. Like the dude that's got 45 level 9 datacrons right now, the guy that's in first in
Yes,
Kyber 1.
yes. There might be a correlation there.
He must have a lot of micro penises on his roster too.
He probably does. All right. So let's talk about conquest farm strats then. Like I think most of us get the red box, or we get the gold box. If we don't have a certain important galactic legend, but I think everyone here farms Datacron treasure nodes pretty extensively. So, which nodes have you guys been hitting the most in this past conquest that just ended, and where do you plan on concentrating your farming on the next conquest that gives the exact same set?
I kind of bounce around, depending on what I really need. Honestly, like truth be told.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I
you're just
think
working on like one cron at a time, basically, and you're just like, what do I need
Yeah,
here? What do I need there?
yeah, and then occasionally, like when I get to the last couple days of conquest, and I've been just like burning through energy. It's just kind of like a lot in Sector 5, and then a lot in Sector 1, just for the extra cash, because I'm always running out of it.
Sure.
yeah, I was going to say I think that to me the two rate limiting factors are the currency and the Mark II mats. And
Yes. Ours too.
so I was farming the first one a bunch, and the other part of me was to get as many datacrons as I could, just because when they're slowing down the release cadence for these, so when the codex ones expire, we're not going to have very many light side ones that are out there anymore. So I was trying to get more light side ones out of this set, to kind of replace the codex ones a little bit. So I was trying to farm the first node to try to get as many datacrons as I could, and I mean the drop rate on the datacrons in the first node has diminished infinitely compared to how it was in previous conquests, because I must have hit that node at least 100 times, and maybe I have 20 datacrons, um, and I'm not all from that node. So it's probably even less than that. It's less than 25% drop rate for sure. And then what was the other one? Oh, I was farming the one with Tuscans. Is that Sector 4?
Sector 4. Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
For the
So
Mark
that
II
was the
map.
other one that I was hitting. Right. So 4 for the Mark II mats, and then 1 for the cash and the Datacrons was the ones that I was hitting the most.
Yeah, that's where I was too. Mead, anything different?
I was actually doing the second one a bunch because just where my roster is, just getting the T3s was just getting to tier 3 is kind of really helpful for just my teams. So that was just my goal was to kind of go wide and bring a lot up to T3 in the first set, and then like the next conquest, look to bring up the T6s that I need, specifically the light side ones.
How about you, Promise?
Is my audio quality better?
It is, yes.
It
Much
is, yeah.
better.
Nice. I like ran home just to make sure my quality was better.
We appreciate
Um,
you.
thanks. Thank you.
That's some dedication.
Well, I didn't want to like sound like pooper, so I had to make sure I didn't beat that part.
No, we could actually understand Pooper. It just was the microphone was halfway down his throat.
Well, I had a similar strategy to Thol. Sector the Tuscan node. I would just farm that mainly for the Mark II mats and the occasional Mark III. And now, because of CG's quote unquote restructuring and simplification of farming Datacron materials, you can only get the data cache in Sector 1. So that's great. And so, really, you're going to be mostly farming Sector 1 and Sector 1's node, and then Sector 4 and 5, because, well, 2 and 3 are sort of irrelevant for the higher end, because really you'll have at least access to those datacrons that will be needed for the perks at level 6 and up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got a but I was actually kind of pleased because I don't think we've talked about this since on the podcast since this has happened. But when the first ones expired, I was actually pretty impressed with what we got out of them, to be honest. I think I got somewhere in the realm of 14 or 1500 Mark 1 mats, in addition to everything else that we got from them. So I really didn't need to farm the Mark 1 mats at all because of that number that I got from the first ones being recycled. So yeah, I was actually kind of shocked with how much that we actually got out of that first set when they went away.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I was really shocked when I opened the inbox, and I didn't really farm set 1 that much to see all that material from maybe like a handful of datacrons. It was nice. Like, that was much more than I was expecting CG to give us as far as the conversion rate goes. I think somebody else in Mandalore, I don't remember who, was saying, "Oh, should I just scrap these now so I can get the conversion currency?" I just wait. Let CG do the math, because it sounds like right now it's benefiting us until they shaft us. I wouldn't do anything. Just leave them alone. Don't scrap them before the set rotates.
Definitely agree on that.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone's actually figured that out, like how much it would be to dismantle them versus how much you get from them when they give them. I mean, I would think what they give you, I would hope what they give you is the same as what it would cost for you to dismantle them.
It is.
Then there's like no point. Is it the same?
It's the same, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a 1-to-1 conversion, even I'm assuming the mats in your inventory.
Yeah, the only thing that matters is like the data cache cap. So it's 30 million. So you want to make sure. I think there's something with the data cache cap that if you're close to it, which I don't think anybody of us are going to be.
No.
So just make sure you spend it down a little bit before they do the destroy the datacrons and give you stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're close to the cap, but if you're not, then it doesn't matter.
That's one of my biggest gripes about the datacrons in general, is just how much cash it was required to go from like 7 to 8 and 8 to 9. The fact that it's like 1.5 million or something like that to go from one level to the next when you get that high, it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, the last level,
especially when you're getting at best out of the treasure node 150k or whatever it is. I mean, it's just stupid.
They want you to farm Conquest, man. Hit that refresh button. Speaking of which, are any of you doing, like, religiously doing the 100 cost refreshes on Conquest?
No.
No, I
don't
the
think
50s.
It's necessary. Just the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the 50s as well. Yeah. My roster couldn't handle the 100s anyway. I would have too many datacrons. I wouldn't be able to use them all.
Yeah.
I also max out to 319 or 315 energy right before the conquest ends, so that I could start the next one with that much energy. It's a little trick.
Yep. All right. Enough about datacrons and conquest. Let's end the
I wanted
podcast.
to add I had nothing important to add to the datacron conversation, because I didn't participate in GAC and territory war. So that's what my gargling was earlier.
Perfect. Well, you're going to really love this next topic then, because the last topic is about GAC.
Nice.
So, yes. Anybody want to talk about the current GAC season? It's 3v3, and we just finished week 1, and we've already locked for week 2. Our first matchups have already been prescribed, and we are in the defense phase for that. So, Chameleon, well, let's start with you. How did you do last week? And anything special that you're doing specifically for this week of GAC?
Well, for last week, not very good, Lab. I went 1-2. My 2 losses were both against Maw guys. Their rosters were, one was 11.6 or 11.7 million to my 9.1, and the other one was about, I could tell you in a second, but it was not a close match on either of them. My best score on the one was 69 banners because I just didn't feel like doing it at that point. Yeah, and that was
And
against the guy
69 is the perfect number.
Yes, that was 11.7 million on him. And then the other one was, I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry, only 10.6 on the other one. So yeah, it was not a very fair matchup on either of them. I went kind of moderate defense, though for this round, I'm putting this guy in a poor hurt locker. Lab and I kind of talked about my defenses. We are doing 5 GLs, Executor, Profundity, and Negotiator on defense. My guy does not have Profundity, so it makes it more fun. I threw Ray, SLKR, Lord Vader, JMK, and JML on defense. I'm only keeping C. My guy plays heavy offense, so it's kind of a little FU to him. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't hate threes. One of my favorite wins was in threes against a potential person on this podcast right now. I think he still hates me for it. But it's still one of my favorite matches because it was just fun.
Was
I
that in
didn't expect.
threes?
Yeah, it was threes.
Oh,
And,
it was threes. Okay.
and that's why I loved winning it, because I hate threes. I don't think threes is a good game mode, especially with Datacrons. I really think it's kind of not as fun. There's not as much, to me. It's either you go heavy offense or heavy defense. There's no in between. If you're an efficiency player, the heavy offense game can work. I'm not efficiency. I just kind of smash buttons and pray to God that I win.
Word. All right. Mead, tell us about your last week of GAC and anything interesting you're doing this week.
Yeah. Last week was good. First guy didn't show up, so nice win to start it off. Then went 1-1. I almost took down a guy for my championship match. He had a like a plus 25 TM Datacron on his maul, and it stopped my troopers from being able to loot because his bow jumped the queue on me, and I didn't plan out my speeds properly. So that was fun because once I lose one match, I lose because I don't have enough teams to come back from a loss. This week, I still play efficiency. It's the only way I can kind of. I find that that's like my best way to win. Just take my GLs on offense because I'm always at such a disadvantage with 2 or 3 down. So just full clear, put a bunch of just kind of trick squads on defense. This current matchup I'm going up against, he has Profundity. I don't. He has 5 GLs, SK, Maul. Should be fun. I'm looking forward to. I did well. I went 2-1 last week, so I'm looking forward to this weekend. Falling back down again.
Sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, Primus didn't participate in TW or in the GAC. So Thol, tell us how you did last week.
I went 2-1. Got accused of cheating. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
That's the best.
Yeah, that was awesome. So the first one that I went up against a guy from what guild was he in? Hang on a minute. He was in Hot Ski Patrol,
Nice.
and I beat him because apparently he underestimated my CLS, CLS, 3 POC and 3 PO, and so he couldn't get through to ships. So I beat him on that one. And then I went up against a guy from Paw Patrol who had, I'm looking at it right now, almost double the 6E mods. I have 665 6E mods. He had almost double that. He had almost double the number of level 9 Datacrons and double the number of R9 tunes and 300 more relic levels than me. So he pretty much squished me. I couldn't get through. I think he cleared me, and I couldn't get through his front wall on the bottom. And then, so that matched me up with a guy from Nomads, and he had also double the 6E mods, several more, a few more R9s than me, not many, and then about 6 more level 9 Datacrons, and I cleared him. He could not beat my Lord Vader, which was on the front bottom, and then he subsequently texts or messages me in game. I sure hope you held on to 4GLs because otherwise I think you cheated or something along those lines. And I was like, well, I did hold on to 4GLs. And by the way, I didn't cheat. Don't ever accuse me of cheating because you're an asshole. So, and then apparently we find out later on that this dude always complains about people beating him and calls them all cheaters because apparently he thinks he's amazing. But yeah. So yeah, I ended up 2-1. I'm like 44,050 right now is my GAC skill level, and I'm about ready to get smoked, I think, in this round. So I'm up against the guy from Primus's favorite guild, the fuck those guys Chewbacquans. So
Wait. How are you skilled higher than me when I beat your ass?
because I had a bad day. God, Cam. Every now and then, like the Red Sox beat the Yankees, even though they're 20 games behind in the standings.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know. I told you the reason you beat me is because I wasn't expecting your JML back there, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot he was back there."
I did. I didn't change my defenses from the.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, everybody loves 3v3, and that's what we've
I
learned.
actually like 3v3. But
It's
I think
okay.
the reason
It's gimmicky.
I think I like it is because no one else does, and so people don't give a shit. And if you give a little bit of a shit, you actually win some.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
tend to climb a little bit in threes when I actually try, which is not every time.
Yeah. Well, so usually what happens is I climb higher than I should be in threes because I care a little bit more about it than some other people do, and then I get my ass kicked when we get back to 5v5 because I'm too high.
Yep. That's the cycle of GAC.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Good stuff.
I'm getting up there to Icarus level. My wings are getting ready to melt off.
Yep. As they do. All right. Any other interesting things that we need to discuss tonight before we sign off?
Only other thing I was like about TW matchmaking. It's. We've had some rough matchups lately. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I particularly like the way they're doing it, where they kind of give you like, you might win 2, and then you get into the gauntlet, and then you lose like 3 in a row, and then you get like a freebie. I don't know. I feel bad when like we're the team the guild that's being the freebie guild.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a nice vacation for us. Like, don't really have to care. We can just do whatever and win. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really feel that good to be the hammer, right? Like,
I like a nice like even matchup. Like the one we
yeah,
had where they cleared 2 walls and that was it. Was like, okay,
yeah,
that's not fun to me.
no.
Or sorry, the one they cleared 1 wall was even worse. That was a couple weeks before that. Um,
Mhm.
it's like I'd rather have a thing where it's like it's down to like 100 banners at the end, and we're racing to see who's gonna win. Not, oh look, we just got our asses kicked by like 5,000 banners.
It does feel like Datacrons have exacerbated the difference. Like, used to be that we could compete with pretty much anybody that wasn't in the gauntlet, like even the next tier down, like
Yeah,
really solid TW guilds. Like, we could compete with people in that tier range too. But since we've taken a pretty lax stance on Datacrons, uh, we find ourselves on the losing end a little bit more than usual, just because some guilds have really put the pressure on their members to farm all the quote unquote right datacrons. And I mean, when you do that, you do get an advantage in TW, and sometimes it's a pretty massive advantage.
yeah, but I think that some guilds are putting more on datacrons and not enough on like mods, for instance. And that's going to come back and kick them in the ass even worse. Because once these quote unquote good datacrons go away, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a question of resource management and allocation for sure.
All
I
right,
don't
I
know.
had
I
a
think
yeah.
I think our some of our people in Mandalore are a little bit like they don't really want to engage in datacrons hardly at all, and I think that's where we're missing. Like, it's not that we aren't requiring all four of the best datacrons on every person. That's not really realistic, I don't think. But I do think that there are some people in the guild that really aren't engaging much at all in
Yes.
conquest or with datacrons, and I think that's where we're losing.
Yeah. And I think that if we can get them just like to get one of the good ones per set, it would
Yeah.
be perfect. Like we would be in a much safer place.
Yep. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
We all make our choices.
Yeah. I mean, I, do I hate TW now? No, I still think it's fun. I'm just glad I don't run TW. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, Sam, dude.
I mean,
Too true.
as much as I'll bitch and moan about TB and herding cats for the last 3 hours of every phase, I would take that any day over the week.
Well, it's gonna be in a few months. It'll be herding cats over however long the phases in the new TBR. 24
Yeah.
hours,
Oh
36
god.
hours. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. It'll be different. It'll be a challenge. I'm sure. I'm sure we'll get our asses kicked the first month or the first 3 months
I
or
mean,
the first 6 months. Who knows?
the first 6 months to a year of LSTB, I mean, we were not doing great, and then all of a sudden, a couple pieces of advice from a few people, and then working with other guilds, we switched up our strategy. Now we're, literally maxed out until we gain more GP.
Well, and also more relic levels came out too. That always makes it easier.
Well, yeah, but we don't need to talk about that part.
R10, baby. All right, boys.
Hold on. One more quick question. What the profundity unlock stars?
Oh yeah,
How many so do you guys all have? I assume Lab is the only one. Me and Lab are the only ones without. Everyone else is
that's correct.
profundity. Is it
Uh,
worth getting it up to 7 stars?
I mean, I went basically straight to 7 stars. But in between the one day of not having it at 7 stars and doing it, I was still taking out maxed out, and I mean full R8 pilots, executors at 5 star. So, um, I don't think it's do you have to rush it? Absolutely not. But it's a phenomenal ship. It makes Fleet Arena much better than it was.
I can't wait.
Yeah, speaking from a guy with a 5-star fat bar fleet, it's such a breeze. Sorry, I'm gonna gloat here, but it's not as much of a nightmare as far as the executor mirror goes. You just oh god, you just walk over that executor fleet. It's amazing. So yes,
Yeah.
5 stars probably the floor. Did you want to get it to?
Yeah, I would agree.
That is my current plan too. I'm gonna do 5-star on the unlock, and I'll probably do 6-star the next month, and I'll probably do 7-star the next month, just because I don't have 25k crystals hoarded up right now, and B, I know that I'm not going to wait 2 years to farm it up,
Yeah.
without spending the crystals. So I'm just going to break it up, and I'm going to get it by the time the new TB drops at 7 stars, because you can bet that it's going to be a very important ship to have for the new TB. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say it made the White Side territory battles. It's great to have that now that I don't have to worry about like the RNG factor of um, Akbar rebels. It just makes the mission much easier. So that's another good reason to have it at 7-star, but I wouldn't rush it for that reason.
Yeah, that was where I was at. Again, I was just like waiting. Like if it's 1,000, if I save 1,000 crystals every month, I wait. Right? That's what the refresh is. It just
Yep.
feels like waiting 3 or 4 months, waiting for the new TV to come out. Right? It's just like 1,000 crystals. Like that starts adding up for every month you're kind of holding.
That's 20 mod energy refreshes. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, boys. Good talk.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Glad to be on this time. Now that it's not my wedding anniversary or some other random event. So
Yep.
yeah.
Well, we were happy to replace Pooper with you. In fact, we were so irritated with his microphone performance that we banished him from the country. He's not even in the country. We made him go to Greece. He's there having a horrible time. He's probably like in prison somewhere in Greece. We don't even know if he's ever coming back. But if he does, he better have a better microphone.
We mainly sent him to Greece to find some more hair. I don't know if he's going to find any, but he may get some Grecian formula out of the deal. But I don't know. We'll see.
I take offense to that as well.
Yes.
At least I have a beard, though. At least I have a beard.
Right.
All right,
All right,
everyone.
man.
Thanks for the time. Thanks for the insights, and we'll have to do it again the next time there's something to talk about.
Yeah, anytime. Take care,
Sounds
guys.
good. Thanks.
All
Thanks
right.
for having us on.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
of course. Thanks everyone for listening to these idiots and myself, the biggest idiot of all, the ringleader, shall we say. And hopefully we'll get at least 2 people who enjoyed this content, and then we'll make some more content. All right.
If we get 4, we'll be 100% more than this time. So let's go 4.
All right. Perfect. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.